filing represents a legal challenge to the Justice Department's planned release of the information. The DOJ is the federal agency at the center of the dispute over the documents. The immediate consequence of the filing is this legal challenge to the planned release schedule. The next step involves the court addressing the scope of the release and the materials covered by the special counsel's probe. FIFA has finalized the list detailing where competitors will train for the World Cup tournament. The announcement confirms that 39 World Cup teams will be based across the United States. This logistical update means that the training bases for the tournament have been set this week by FIFA. The World Cup is scheduled to feature these 39 participating teams, all of whom will be based within the U.S. The finalized list provides a breakdown of the specific U.S. cities designated to serve as training locations for the participating squads. The material does not specify a next step or deadline regarding the training bases. The confirmation of these locations marks the completion of the initial logistical planning for the tournament. The next meaningful update will be the first confirmed response or official action that changes what viewers know now. NASA has announced a $20 billion program to build a permanent base at the Moon's South Pole, slated for completion by 2032. This effort involves sending robotic landers and hopping drones to map the challenging lunar terrain before humans arrive. The base construction is intended to support scientific experiments, potential resource mining, and easier travel to Mars. This initiative places the U.S. Space Agency in competition with China, which is advancing its own plans to land humans on the Moon by 2030. The agency released details of the initial robotic components, and some scientists noted that despite recent U.S. missions, China may be the next nation to land humans on the lunar surface. The program is powered by a combination of nuclear and solar energy sources. The next phase involves the development of delivery vehicles capable of driving astronauts across the lunar surface. The immediate focus remains on the initial robotic exploration and mapping efforts to support the long-term goal of establishing a sustained human presence on the Moon. The declining number of shrimpers who remain in business are struggling with these combined pressures. The primary concerns cited by the industry involve escalating fuel expenses and market competition from lower-priced imports. Because of these economic pressures, the shrimping community is appealing to Congress for assistance. The reports indicate that the struggle is tied to operational costs and market forces affecting the Gulf Coast shrimping sector. The immediate next step involves the industry seeking legislative attention to address these financial challenges. The declining number of Gulf shrimpers who are still in business are now struggling as gas prices rise and competition with cheaper imports remains high. For drivers, the next test is whether pump prices keep rising in the next weekly price report. Wildlife officials are cautioning the public following a video that circulated showing U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. handling writhing snakes on a Florida patio. The video, which Kennedy posted, showed him approaching and crouching to pick up a pair of snakes with his bare hands. Kennedy stated in the caption that he was removing the reptiles from his colleague Dr. Mame Oz's Florida beach house. A woman in the footage was heard referencing black racers, noting that according to the National Park Service, these snakes are non-venomous and harmless to humans as long as they are left alone. Meanwhile, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has issued warnings, advising the public to maintain distance from snakes as they become more active in the spring. The agency specifically told the public to give snakes a wide berth and admire them from a distance, and to resist the urge to pick it up. The agency added that even non-venomous snakes can deliver a solid bite. The public safety guidance remains focused on keeping distance from wildlife encounters. NPR reported on how Delta Air Lines is using artificial intelligence, or AI, to improve baggage handling operations at its Atlanta hub. This involves integrating AI directly into the baggage handling processes at the major airport hub. The reporting provided a look behind the scenes at this specific AI implementation within the logistics system. The material did not provide specific next milestones or deployment timelines for the technology. NPR reported on how the airline is using AI to improve baggage handling operations at the hub. The next meaningful update will be the first confirmed response or official action that changes what viewers know now. The New York Knicks reached the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years by defeating the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference finals with a 130-93 win. Brunson, 29, was just 2 years old at the time, but his father, Rick, who is now an assistant coach at the franchise, was a guard on the team. The Knicks ended the first quarter with an 8-0 run and began the second with 12 unanswered points to lead 50-26. Shamet's third three-pointer later put the Knicks 61-32 up, and they never looked back, overwhelming the Cavs after halftime with 22 turnovers. The New York Knicks reached the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years with a 130-93 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks swept the best-of-7 Eastern Conference Finals 4-0, extending their franchise record playoff win streak to 11 games. Karl Anthony Towns scored 19 points and grabbed 14 rebounds, while Series MVP Jalen Brunson added 15 points. The Knicks secured their spot in the NBA Finals with a 130-93 win over the Cavaliers.